Ahora les presento a Taekyeom Lee. Él es educador, investigador, diseñador multidisciplinario, utiliza distintos materiales y sensibilidad artística. Es profesor asistente de diseño gráfico en la Universidad de Wisconsin-Madison y su investigación explora formas convencionales de crear tipos tangibles, gráficos e incluso objetos diseñados con materiales y técnicas únicas para la tipografía y el diseño gráfico. Él experimenta con todo, ahorita lo van a ver, y you're gonna be excited about his work. Incorporó la impresión 3D a su investigación y ha estado experimentando con varios métodos y materiales. Las técnicas digitales de vanguardia juegan un papel crucial en convertir ideas intangibles en productos de diseño tangibles y sustancias físicas. También se convierte en un agente para construir una fuerte conexión entre los entornos analógico y digital. Y su obra de arte, porque produce obra de arte desde el diseño gráfico, se ha vuelto viral en redes sociales, ha llamado la atención a nivel nacional e internacional y ha presentado a través de congresos nacionales e internacionales. Ha exhibido su trabajo y ha brindado talleres, conferencias en su país, en Estados Unidos y en distintas partes del mundo. Así es que, bueno, aquí está Taekyeom Lee. So very welcome, my friend, and please enjoy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't speak Spanish, but I can see like what you're saying, and they sound beautiful in Spanish as well. All right, I will share my screen with you. Can you see it? All right, so I will start. First of all, thank you, Miguel, for like introducing me and also inviting me to talk to people, and also thanks TMX to hosting this wonderful event. So my name is Taekyeom, and I'm an assistant professor of graphic design. So today I will talk about my typographic explorations with 3D printing. I have approximately 90 slides, and I will fly through many of the images and videos. First of all, hola, and I'm originally from Korea too, so 안녕하세요. So first of all, my name is really tricky, and even Korean people make mistakes as well. So like, you can just call me Taekyeom. I really appreciate your effort, but also call me Tag, like Tacky Tag, like that'll be completely fine. This is my father's shop. My father is now retired car mechanic, and my parents run a shop together, and I'm a first generation college student. I like working with like tools and machineries, really. Although I didn't end up with the like engineering or mechanical side, but I like to use some of them, and I'm still under influence of it. Actually, my grandfather was an air mechanic during the Korean War as well. So I'm teaching graphic design, and I'm a typography nerd. And this is the me arranging the ceramic pieces. And this is my MFA thesis project, which is using many different materials. I did it every day. And you can see some weird elements as well. Actually, one day I used my fingernails and everything. I just grab something and make a letter form. And this is my process documentation. And you can see the transition from the found object to the ceramic material. At that time, I did everything by hand and casting it. Like I was crazy with ceramic medium. And I will tell you why I started working with the ceramics too. At that time, everything was the tiles, and as you arrange it, you can create different letter forms and images as well. And it's basically create my own tiles, which is pixels, and rearrange them, and I can spell different letters. By the way, this ULED is not alive anymore, but this is basically, it's a hand-bound book with the ceramic cover. So designers can use a variety of printing techniques to produce visual materials and to solve to solve visual communication problems. My research explores unconventional materials and alternate solutions to create tangible typography, graphics, even designed objects using digital fabrication, mostly 3D printing. This is my DIY machines writing log, and simply it's using clay as ink. And yes, it can be fired later. Yep. I don't have really good handwriting. Actually, my machine does better than me. So this is DIY printers, and then I learned how to build my own tools. So I became a designer, maker, and also tool maker as well, specifically. The biggest printer I've ever built is the 5-foot-tall Delta style 3D printer. You're the top right corner. And I have to learn how to work with the hardware and software too. They're all powered by Arduino. This is my extruder designs. I'm printing, there's no ceramic filament. So I have to find out how to 3D print clay. And this is my designs. One of the bottom right corner, I'm using the auger screw so I can control the feed. For example, I wanted to spell letters. If it's uppercase A, you have to draw the outline, pause the extrusion, move the nozzle, and resume the extrusion. So I'm using the auger screw there. Screws are all 3D printed as well. And this summer, actually, I have a residency at Internet Archive in San Francisco, and I brought all the parts and I recorded a video of me putting things together, and I share how to build a ceramic DIY 3D printer, and I have resources and supplies and everything. So if the link is too long, feel free to contact me, and I'm happy to share the link with you. And again, I started working with typography, letter forms, and ceramics. And even sometimes I have an identity crisis as well, like what I'm doing. Am I a ceramicist or am I a designer, whatever. So actually I started a hashtag called "This is also typography" because I'm working with the ceramic material and typography here too. They all need to be fired in the kiln as well. Some of the pieces are super delicate, so you cannot pick it up when you printed it. So actually, I printed on the kiln shelf and then bring the kiln shelf and fire it, then I can pick it up. I also tested different languages, and English is my second language. I've learned some Japanese and Chinese, and I'm fluent in Korean. And the bottom one, actually, there is Arabic as well. So I have tested different languages. This is one of the design I am orchestrating. This is using the pneumatic extruder, and these textures are not from the design itself. I'm controlling the pressure to under extrusion and over extrusion, simply shooting less material and more material to create texture. And I also have a question for you. This is writing a sentence. It is writing a sentence. If you have learned typography and you know this text, probably. I'll give you a little bit of time. This is a sentence, a long sentence. All right, here is the answer. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So this is totally against the notion of crystal goblet. It's really hard to read, but this is one of the possible solutions to spell the letters, a sentence, including A to Z, in a three-dimensional space. This is creating this surface transition from each letters and creating the three-dimensional forms. And I tested a much simpler letter form. This is love, L-O-V-E. And I tested a print, and I just walk out of my office, and when I came back, this happens. And I posted this photo on my Instagram, and one of the followers says, yeah, love is complicated. So it's not really legible letter form, LOVE anymore, but it also represents the meaning of love somehow. So it inspired me to start this exploration from mess, MESS, it's messy texture, to neat. You can see the transition from mess to neat because our letter form doesn't really have any meaning about the meaning of the letter, meaning of the term or something. So I really wanted to make an experiment. Unfired clay is really fascinating material. You can reclaim it and you can reprint it. And this one is reclaiming the clay. It's really fascinating process. And as you reclaim it, slowly dissolved underwater. And this became this. It's not really legible, I know, but somehow it's poetic. Somehow show the meaning of the love. This one I created for the Cranbrook 4-day program when they launch the program. So this one, so I rewind the video so I can magically pick it up. Good typography could still be crystal clear, like Beatrice's word, poetic metaphor. As fine typography often disappears, playing a supporting role. Typography also called the invisible art. Actually, many good designs are invisible. However, typography shows its physical substance in the real world. So we can touch it, we can play with it, and we can truly experience it. This one is a series called the type base, not typeface, because it's a base form. And on the left side, this one is the solar powered turntable. So it's kind of constantly spinning on a sunny day. And this one is really, it's a single letter and extruded in 3-dimensional space. Starting from this small test piece, this is a much larger piece, and also it was exhibited at the through the exhibition in Chicago called Type Force. This one is a spin, S-P-I-N. It's literally spinning. This one is 3D printed, definitely, and this is about like 4 or 5 foot tall. Because I printed it split it into 7 segments and then printed it and put things together. Ceramic pieces they need to be fired in the kiln. There are porcelain. I like to work with porcelain, and they need to fire at cone 6, which is 2232 Fahrenheit. And yes, bisque fired and glaze fired. Glaze fire is very interesting process. Actually, it's magic, but not really magic, it's chemistry. They're all fired, and also color change is pretty interesting. When it's greenware, it looks like grayscale. After bisque fire, it feels like monotone. When I glaze it, it looks like RGB. After like firing it, actually the color gets darker, so it feels like CMYK. Like that's kind of how I describe the color changes of the ceramic pieces to designers. Not just working with the letter forms, I also work with different geometries as well. And I have learned, you can see this one is changing the color. It's using the glazing technique. So something like this one is more obvious, not just a letter form. And as I learned how to work with the ceramic material, and I learned how to like explore different possibilities. This one is 120 pieces, over 120 pieces of the collapsed ceramic print. And actually, I had a solo exhibition in University of Oklahoma. Now it's closed, but this is the photo of the exhibition. So, like many people ask me, why ceramics? Like, what's the relationship between the ceramic and typography? Actually, ceramic is a meaningful material for typography. I can tell you more soon, but also I have some personal reason. This make me sad a little bit. When I was in grad school, I have a retinal detachment. Some of hopefully you haven't experienced this one, but this photo make me sad a little bit. But it's retinal detachment is an emergency that need prompt medical attention to save vision in the eye. So one day it just happens. One day my retina was detached and I have to go through the 2 surgeries, and then they put me down to face down recovery because they inject gas bubble in my eyeball. So like I took a semester off, and when I come back to school, I really wanted to I need a therapy and sort of art therapy. And then ceramic was one of them. And I started working with the ceramic materials. If you have a question more about this part, and I'm happy to talk more about it. But also, ceramic is very meaningful material for typography because it's one of the first material our ancestors used to materialize the spoken language. So cuneiform, and also there is cylinder seals, which is cylinder shape, and it has kind of carved details, images, and text on it. So when you roll it on wet clay, you can print it. This is probably one of the first high-tech printing of the time. So inspired by that, this one is a 3D printed embosser, which is a positive, negative side. When you roll an empty blank paper, you can print, in this case, my business card. And I've made different versions for exhibitions and events and different places as well. And this one's fairly easy to use. You can just roll empty paper, and this is many people's favorite. And little ones usually really like it. This one I made also version for Squid Game thing, and also using the Korean consonant here as well. And I also really revisited the cylinder seals, and I can just print something on the wet clay, and they don't have to stay flat. So I can just warp it and fire it. Also, you can print something, screen print on clay slab as well. And I had a collaboration with the printmaker. I'm originally from Korea, and I designed a typeface called Hangul, which is, you can see this one will look like English alphabet, like Latin alphabet. As I rotate it, flip it, and change the shape of the Hangul, which is Korean consonant vowels, and I designed the alphabet out of it, and make some 3D printed pieces as well. And my colleague and my collaborator, Yohyun An, she said, yeah, hey, we should do something to show the bilingual experience, because we are originally from Korea, speak Korean and English at the same time. So this is the selfie using the typographic selfie you created with the processing code. And on the left-hand side, that's using the processing code and face recognition as well. On the right-hand side, that's the furniture. The C is actually made out of the letter form C in Korean. That's digut, and that's made by a MFA candidate here. She Esther Jo. She majored in woodworking. Often I have to use lots of different materials, and material really matters. So this is one of the most exciting demos in my class. It's printing Nutella chocolate and peanut butter on bread bed. Yes, that's edible. And this is I used the $150 dental vacuum former, and I made a mold out of it. And I made some chocolate letters, and this is jellies as well. When I was in North Carolina, I dug up some local clay and 3D printed it. Separating the clay from the dirt and sand is pretty interesting process as well. And also this is on the left-hand side, as you can see, this is red clay. But after firing it, you can see the flame, it's really fired at high temperature. And after firing it, it changed the color to the dark black or purplish color because it loses the oxygen from the clay body. I don't know what mineral is in the local clay, but this was really interesting experience. You can mix some of the recycled paper into clay, like the image, the video there. And also the pulp paper can be casted with 3D printed mold as well. It can be letters, it can be some geometric shapes, or it can be bowl as well. And I plan to explore more with this one. And from the top left, there's a stamp printed with flexible material. There's EAT, that's the planter. You can print artist book when you print it really thin. And also Stop Hate. When I was in North Carolina, there was an incident happens in Charlottesville related to the racial issues there. So I wanted to make something, and this one says no hate, and it's clamped on the standard railing system. You can clamp it, you can remove it. Not like a sticker, it doesn't leave any damage to the structure there. And last, since the COVID time, there's another, incident happens across the state in the US and also like other countries as well. And I wanted to do something. So I need to resolve the legal issues because I cannot attach something to the stop sign, but I wanted to attach something to Stop Hate under the stop sign there. And I designed the mounting system for this poles. Still, again, I need to resolve the legal issues, and I wanted to make some kind of guerrilla project, but it's pretty obvious who might do it because I installed it around the campus, and like I might be the only one does this kind of stuff, so I cannot behind the scenes. So I really want to explore more once I resolve the legal issues. Not every design can be homemade. This one is 3D printed with steel and bronze, and I send it to Shapeways, and they will 3D print it with the metal, and they ship it back. This is a ring made with the slab serif eye, and it's making the Möbius strip, three-dimensional space, and print the ring out of it. It's also printed with steel as well. There is a very interesting material called PMC, precious metal clay. This is a copper, and my friends Marisa introduced me this material, and we 3D printed. It's like a clay. It's made of fine particle of clay with the binder, which is kind of oil. So it worked like clay, and we printed it and fired it. As you can see now, we are putting into the carbon because, can you guess why? If you don't put into carbon, this copper piece will be oxidized. So we have to put into carbon, and we have to tumble it to polish it. It's not really shiny because it's just fired and tumble it, and then it polished, and we created some rings and other pieces out of the copper. One of the PhD candidate, Eric, helped me to digitally mill the Happy with aluminum. So this is really heavy, and it's really big, bulky, but also it's not 3D printed, but digitally fabricated. This is the custom-made beer tap handle, 8x8, fully 3D printed. I sanded, painted it, and this is a commissioned work from the local brewery, and it's made out of the letter form. It's just perfect project for me. And this is the wearable rings, and printed with a flexible material called the TPU, thermal polyurethane. This is really, it's durable and wearable, flexible. And the green one of my students find out this design perfectly fit to the Apple Pencil. During the COVID time, I wasn't able to really work with the ceramics much because it has been fired, and I don't have kiln in my apartment. So I started working with plastic material. This is a bookmark, and it has to be nicely touching each other. Many of times we have to type designer, we have to use the kerning to nicely give a good spacing between it. But this one, you have to nicely touching each other. As it has a little nice catch at the top, it will stay at the top of the book. As I'm getting better with 3D printer, I'm using 3D printer to write letters, and the brush one is using hi in 안녕 in Korean. So as I incorporate the Z-axis, I can write something with it. And the other pieces, they're all 3D print, using 3D printer as a lettering machine. These designs are generated with a software called the Grasshopper and Rhino, which is a node-based software. And I will show you some here. It's not scripting, but it's using the connecting the node. And as you change the parameters, it will generate different designs. You can export 3D models, and you can 3D print it. As you can see, yeah, it's real time. You can use variables. Once, like generative design, once you set the code, and it's fairly easy to reiterate designs. Using different seed fonts and different modules, I can create different designs. Love is actually made out of lots of hearts inside. And I will tell you more about this shiny, projection. This was bubbly letters, actually using the bubbles, and I'm using different parameters to generate different designs of the bubble letter form, and I can pick one and 3D print it. So there is a San Francisco-based startup company called Lightform, and recently they announced that they discontinue, but using one of their device, I can 3D scan. Not 3D scan, I can scan the surface and then throw the projection on it. So I can apply another layer on the 3D printed letter forms. This one was my classroom when I was in Iowa. I spent approximately 30 minutes to create immersive classroom. I scan the ceiling of the building and throw some projection there. And I also have some 3D printers for my class, so they can use the printers. I had exhibition in Meraki Institute of Arts and Design. So I've been actively exhibiting my work across the stage. If you're interested in hosting an exhibition, please let me know. And this one is also 3D printed, and just straight photography shows really interesting geometries as well. This one, asterisk. And I started taking the photo of the printed pieces, like inside, and I started working with the letter form. As you can see, I put some letter forms behind it, and I don't need any filters, and just take photos, and that was it. And I collected many photos and designed some magazine as well. COVID time, pandemic is a perfect time to working with the soap and actually I design the 3D shapes and 3D letter forms and make a silicone mold so I can make soap and candles. And I'm a designer. I thought about making some packages. These are all laser cut paper and make some unique packagings. And later it became a class project for my class. It's not type, but I started creating the tools. Like I can spin the Crayola markers and Sharpies as well, creating some graphics. And I actually made a launcher to help little ones to spin and draw something. This is not really polished, and I wanted to make some drawing out of it with the letter form, and it's, as you can see, it's not polished. So I haven't shared it with anyone yet, but it's my first time sharing it. I like to explore with the spinning drawing with the letter form as well. When I have an exhibition in Illinois, and I have many of these pieces, over 100 pieces, and I want people to spell some letters like this, but the opening night, actually, this happens. like it's really critical mass, and then like I let everyone to touch the piece, and then like especially I don't know why exactly, but I know why. But little ones really like playing with my design, so this wasn't like what happened. I was amazed by how they are like playing with the 3D printed pieces. And still, like embosser is my favorite and people's favorite as well. And I started working, learning how to use Braille, how to read Braille. So this was a love in Braille, and I started printing my name on the university card. And I also observed how people with the vision impaired people interacting with my design as well. And I like to explore more in the future. This one was installed during my solo exhibition in Oklahoma as well. So this is the larger version of the embosser. And yes, you can print letters on toilet paper without ink. It's the same design, the positive, negative. As you crank it, you can print it. So simply, my motto is make, think, repeat, and don't forget to play. Sometimes when I play with the materials or some designs, I don't really have a good outcome, but if I don't stop playing it, I can get something new, and always there is a happy accident, and it gives me some ideas as well. And something like this one, it's my first time sharing it. Like I just make a piece and then like make some simple animation out of it, video actually. I like to explore more with this one. I possibly like to work with wind, so it's gonna spinning with no power. I'm an educator, I'm a teacher, and I'm proud to be a teacher, so I like to share some of my student work as well. This is the tactile card, and it's one of my favorite student work. And there's each card has a theme. For example, scary has a goosebump on it, so you can scratch it, the surface, and to write some card out of it. There's A to Z. This is the T table. I learned how to operate CNC, and I helped my students to make a joinery system, and they make a T table out of it. This one is one day we had a workshop bringing found object, making brushes. Like we just dip some ink, and then there's many interesting writing instrument, and we just dip some ink and write some letters. This is a lean chair. LE is chair and AN is ottoman. This one is also, everything was in-house, made in-house, and we operate the CNC and make a full-size furniture as well. This is the soap and packaging design, and each design has a theme, and then they make a three-dimensional letter form. I help them to create a silicone mold and soap, and everyone designed the unique packages. This one is actually for typography 1. My students learned how to do design some two-dimensional design, and I helped them to turn that into 3D design and make custom unique bookmark 3D printed. This is the keychain / embosser. It's kind of simple hand-pressed embosser. I have experimental course with 2 of my colleagues, and my session is focused on the touch. Everything was designed and 3D printed. You can see there is embosser, some like geometric, some abstract form, earrings, and there's a span that actually you can emboss letters on receipt. This is one of my graduate student design experiment with the 3D letter forms and created tube. And this is another graduate student designed a iPad stand, which is for the therapy, speech therapy. So they involve some letter forms and has some toys in the bin as well. I'm sharing many of my explorations on my Instagram. This is my actual process documentation. If you have any questions, you can check you can message me or email me as well. And most of the images you can find it there. This is the last photo. It's not related to typography, but when I have a lecture in Middle East and I was traveled airport, they stopped me and then, hey, like what you have in your bag? And then this was an X-ray photo of the 3D printed ceramic pieces. I scared of asking them to take photo, but the hotel has their own security and I took photos of this one and this is how it looked like. Actually, there's a 3D type there as well. All right, thank you for your time. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer the questions. And or also you can find me, you can email me or find me on Instagram as well.
Taekyeom, thank you so much for your presentation. I'm gonna ask just for some questions. If does anybody to ask? ¿Alguien tiene alguna duda? Sabemos que no todos lo entendieron. Va a estar el video disponible traducido, no se preocupen. Pero ¿alguien vio algo que le haya interesado y que quiera preguntar algo o que tenga una duda al respecto de lo que nos mostró Taekyeom? ¿Alguien? Okay, probably they are shy, but this is your audience, and I just have to say it.
Hello, hola.
Let me show you the guys.
Oh, yay. Hello, hi.
Those are the guys.
I haven't been in Mexico yet. One day I really like to visit Mexico and I want to learn some like Spanish as well. I only can say hola and thank you and other things, but gracias. Right? And I think I really want to learn some more things as well. But also thank you, Miguel, for inviting me and hosting whole event as well. But yeah, feel free to direct any questions to me and I'm happy to answer any questions too.
Okay, so escríbanle muchachos, ahí están sus redes, no duden. And thank you so much, my friend. And thank you for your patience and your time and your knowledge and everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
See you in the future.
We also have some people here too. Yes.